Hi, welcome to Netmon's screencast tutorial series. The Simple Network Management Protocol, or SNMP, is widely used on all sorts of devices. It exposes a great deal of performance and configuration data about the device, and it will provide that data to any network host which asks for it, as long as the requester supplies the correct community string. In our last screencast, we covered how to add a new device to Netmon's monitoring database and enable SNMP support for it. If you aren't familiar with how to do that already, I advise you to check out that screencast before starting with this one. For the purposes of this exercise, we'll assume that you've got an SNMP capable device already configured in Netmon's Device Explorer. Now, based on the device type that you've selected in the device settings, Netmon is going to automatically gather up some important metrics for that device based on what it knows about it. These are known as OIDs, or Object Identifiers. SNMP typically exposes thousands of different performance and configuration metrics, and in most cases, only a handful of these are important to us. Even though Netmon usually makes some good choices about which OIDs to monitor, in some cases there can be good reasons to monitor others too. In this case, I've selected the UPS device that I set up earlier, and you can see those metrics on the device dashboard here and here. Netmon has automatically started measuring these. In addition to that, Netmon will automatically attempt to discover information about the device's network interfaces. You can see those by clicking the Network tab. We'll come back to this tab in another screencast. For now, I'm going to assume that we want to monitor an object identifier that isn't part of Netmon's built-in dashboard. If I jump back to the device dashboard, you can see that I'm already monitoring a few custom OIDs for this device. They appear here and here. I'd like to see what other kinds of OIDs I can monitor for this device, so I'm going to run an SNMP walk command on the device. To do that, I click the SNMP walk button in the device toolbar here. I can choose to run a full walk against the device, which attempts to discover all of the managed objects for that device. Or I can do an enterprise walk, which only attempts to walk the device-specific branches. For example, output voltage is specific to UPS devices, so I'm going to find those objects in the enterprise walk. Network interfaces, on the other hand, are not device-specific, and I'll find those objects in the full walk. In most cases, I suggest doing an enterprise walk first to see if the objects you require are there. If they aren't, do a full walk. An SNMP walk can take a little bit of time, depending on the device you're polling. There are sometimes tens of thousands of metrics coming back. In general, this can take anywhere from 5 seconds to a minute or more. Okay, I can see that my SNMP walk is completed, and I see a bunch of starting branches on my screen. Each of these represents a collection of object identifiers. This branch looks interesting, and I think it may have some of the information I need, so I'll click on it. Here's an interesting object. It's an account of how many bad battery packs we have in our UPS. Right now there are 0 bad battery packs, and that sounds like a good thing, but I'd certainly like to know if that value changes. So I'm going to start watching this metric by clicking Add Tracker. When I add a tracker, I can give it a label, so I'm just going to set this to bad battery packs. I can also choose a sampling interval. Every 180 seconds seems a little bit too frequent to me, so I'm going to go with 10-minute polling intervals. That's 600 seconds. Lastly, I can choose whether or not I want to log the results of each check, which enables me to construct a line graph, and whether or not I should display this tracker on Netmon's home dashboard. Since I don't really need to log this data, I'll leave that box unchecked. And, while it's always a good idea to display important metrics on the home dashboard, in this case I'm mainly just concerned with being alerted when a bad battery pack is detected, so I'm going to leave this unchecked as well. Now all I need to do is click the Save Changes button, and Netmon will begin tracking this OID for me. I have one last step to take. Now that I'm tracking this metric, I'd like to be alerted when the value is not 0. So I'm going to click on my new performance tracker here, followed by the Alerts button. I can now make some selections for my alert. I can give it a label, choose a recipient, choose a notification method, in this case email. Lastly, I want to be alerted if this OID is not 0, so I'll choose not equal to and enter the value of 0 in the text box. Once I save these changes, I've now configured Netmon to notify me if this value is ever anything except 0. And there you have it. We've explored the available managed objects on our SNMP-capable device by using the SNMP walk facility. We found an interesting OID to monitor and told Netmon to start tracking it. And lastly, we configured some alert parameters so that we can be notified if Netmon detects a change in this value. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on our next screencast.